All right, here we go. What's up, guys? Happy Friday. What's I kind of messed up a little bit today, goofed up on some of the stuff, but wanted to go live like I do every Friday, talking about some health hacks and some ways that you can improve your sleep. And I think, in light of my latest guest that I had on my podcast, Molly McLaughlin, who's the founder of Sleep is a Skill, and she was on the podcast this Tuesday. That episode launched. You can go check that out. But in light of that, I thought let's go over some tips for better sleep. And some of the ones I found I was a little surprised by and didn't really know. And I thought, let me share these with the audience. I think it's going to help. We know that sleep is just important for everything, and including weight loss. But I think a lot of us shun off sleep. And that's why I love what Molly McLaughlin's approach is. Sleep is a skill. You need to really invest in it. And I don't think many of us do, right? We just think like, no, I mean, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'm going to work forever, right? And people are so misunderstood by that. And so we're going to get into the 5 things that you guys can do for better sleep. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is number 1, go to bed at the same time every night. You want to build in a routine. I see this a lot with clients too. Their routines are all over the place. And I say, you need to dial in your sleep. Like it's your nutrition and it's your exercise. It's the same thing. There's so many successful people out there I know, and one of them I'm really thinking about is David Meltzer. This guy is a millionaire beyond a millionaire, and he hired a sleep coach. And I thought, why do you need a sleep coach? Like you know what to do. Like go to sleep on time. But I realized he's on such a high performing level. Like he does the nutrition. He has a workout coach. He has all these other coaches, and he's wondering like, how can I level up? How can I dial in even more? And so he even went out and hired a sleep coach, which I might sound ridiculous, but the guy is making millions and millions of dollars. That doesn't mean he's successful just because he makes millions of dollars. But what I'm saying is that he knows something or two, right? And he's at the top of his game. He's hired all the coaches for other things. And now he's even gone to, for sleep. So invest in your sleep. Go to the same time, go to bed at the same time every night. You want to build in this routine. What I've noticed from Oura Ring data over 4 years, that's 100% true. I've seen it over and over again. I used to quantify my sleep with an Oura Ring. Now I use a BioStrap, but they're both great. And what I noticed is if I did shift work or I did something, it like took almost like 2 to 3 nights before I would get back in like a good rhythm and get better sleep markers. When I was consistent with my sleep multiple days in a row, it worked out really good. Your body has an internal clock. It has a specific sleep wake cycle. So going to bed late one night, early next morning is going to completely throw off your circadian rhythm. There's this thing in your body called the SCN. It is the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This thing is part of your hypothalamus, which is crucial for, guess what? Circadian rhythms, and the release of melatonin and cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, guys. I talk about this a lot because if cortisol is high, then there's an inverse relationship between that and melatonin. Cortisol is high, you are not losing weight. You are in a stressed out state. So this controls that. And guess what? The SCN loves routine. It loves habit. If it could be on a habit machine, it would do it. So build that habit in with your wellness routine. Okay. Number 2 is do a light workout. Do a light workout before breakfast, okay? The research shows that 30 minutes of moderate intense aerobic exercise, about 65% of your maximum heart rate attained through like a VO2 max score just prior to breakfast, highly beneficial for enhancing sleep, okay? What I would not recommend is doing some full out workout before breakfast for most people. I'm not saying you can't do that in a fasted state. Many people do it and they get successful, but a lot of us are in a stressed out state. And when you are in stressed out state and you just go back and you do something like a hard workout, you are going to spike cortisol even more, and it's going to be very difficult for you to lose weight. So something light, get that 20 to 45 minutes before breakfast. It doesn't need to be anything that's going to amplify your cortisol. We just it's going to leave enough glycogen in your tank for a harder workout later in the day. This is just to get things moving. And then one of the great things you can do is actually stack that with going outside. So go out in the morning, go out for a morning walk, get the sun on your eyes. The sun is going to start your circadian rhythm. It's going to start that 24-hour circadian clock. When you get light from outside, it's completely light, like the light that's shining in my eyes right now from the blue light spectrum of this blaring light. Completely different. So if you can just get out early in the morning, go for a walk, go for a light jog, that is going to really help not only with sleep, and that exercise is going to help kind of bring in that calming state at the end of the day, but also if you can stack that with the sun, that's going to be really nice. All right, number 3, avoid mega meals at night. Okay, avoid these large meals. And what you could do actually is, even from Ayurvedic times, we know this. If you just replace your large dinner meal with your lunch meal, that's been shown to be really good. Now, here's the thing. Most people won't do that, and it's just because the society we live in. Dinner is a time to connect with our family, and it's an emotional thing, and we connect that way, and we go out for dinner, and we have these big meals. That's great. And I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying, if you look at kind of the Ayurvedic times and you look at what works even better for weight loss, it's going to be reversing that. So have a larger meal at lunch. These high meals, what they're going to do is it could excessively spike your blood glucose and insulin levels. And that's not going to be good for you. That's not going to be good. If you have these high spikes, it might actually cause you to wake up. You might feel irritable. So look for something like, a meal that's higher in protein. That's going to kind of inhibit that spike in glucose with your ratio of carbs to protein. The other thing is, if you're eating really late, it's gonna diminish some of those fat burning hormones that we see at nighttime, which is leptin and adiponectin, and that's going to be really nice for burning fat. Okay. So one last thing I'd say with dinner is, if you do decide to eat dinner, there's this ancient Japanese phrase, and I think it's called harashi hashibu. And what it stands for is, eat till you're 80% full. When you're 80% full, walk away from the meal, push it back. Okay. If anything, wait 15 minutes. I always tell clients, have a glass of water, or just wait if you still think you're hungry, and just see what happens. The other great thing after dinner, I talked about this before, the Italians do this, the passeggiata. After dinner, take a 20 to 30-minute walk. That's going to really nicely even out that blood glucose, okay? That's going to really make things nice and even. I've seen it on a glucose meter myself, wearing CGMs. It's really good, okay? So the fourth tip I'm going to give you is, you got to avoid blue light at night. I really think this is probably the most monumental thing when it comes to sleep. And I think people, if they just change this one thing, they would kind of like, everything else would start to normalize. And what you can do is just wear blue blocking glasses. But I'm going to explain to you why blue light is such a bad thing right now. First of all, if you don't know where blue light is coming from, blue light is in all these LEDs and everything. We have blue light in the sun, but it's balanced by a spectrum of other lights: green, yellow, orange, red, purple. There's this nice, the God or the universe, however it was created, it's beautiful, and it's made to work in this harmony. And it's not the same way in our industrial life, right? These lights are just all blue. But bottom line is that blue light, it stimulates the brain, and it says, hey, it's time to be awake. So you should be awake. And we are on iPhones, we are on laptops, and we are in our iPads. We're reading, and we're doing this all at night, right until the minute we go to bed. The studies show that if you are on that, blue light will blunt melatonin production up to 2 hours. So imagine you're on your iPhone, you're chatting, you're doing your thing, and next thing you know, you're like, all right, I'm gonna go to sleep. You put it off, set your alarm, and you get ready. Well, guess what? Your melatonin production, which is going to drive that sleep drive and actually help you sleep, it is blunted for 2 hours. You're not going to get a nice release of melatonin until then. So not a really good idea. They did another study out at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, and they did the same study, a control study with nobody, where they weren't looking at blue light, and they had the other group actually on iPad readers. And what they found is that they took longer to fall asleep, they felt less sleepy, and they had shorter REM sleep compared to the test subjects that were assigned just to reading like regular printed books. And like I mentioned earlier, guess what? They secreted less melatonin. Guys, I'm going to do some stuff on melatonin soon. I just interviewed an expert on melatonin it's the stuff that's coming out with melatonin is very fascinating. There was a great study done with this virus that many of you know about. And we see that melatonin is one of the most powerful antioxidants that you can get in your body next to glutathione. And it helps clean up your body. It's an antioxidant. It's going to help clean up those cells. And it also acts on the nervous system in this parasympathetic way. It is super, super powerful. So just think about that. If you're blunting melatonin, you're going to have issues. The last one, guys, is essential oils or aroma touch. Now, I've got a couple studies, and I'm going to show that in this is going to become a podcast, and I'm going to throw that. And if you want to check out the podcast in the show notes, check out the Hacked Life podcast. That's my podcast. We are nearing 100 episodes. I've interviewed some of the best and the brightest health and wellness experts. So you can check that out. And now every week I'm going live and doing some of these health hacks. Monday mindset, Wednesday weight loss. We're doing all kinds of really cool stuff. So you can check out the podcast, or if you go to joel11coaching.com, you can see I'm going to have all the show notes and everything listed there. Some really cool stuff though found with aroma sticks, and what they actually did a lot of studies with cancer patients, because what they found is cancer patients have a real big difficulty when it comes to falling asleep and getting restful sleep. And so they used an aroma stick, and they took 65 aroma sticks that were given over a 13-week period, and 94% reported that they used the aroma stick regularly, and they would continue to do so. They saw an improvement at least in one areas of their sleep scores. And the way the researchers measured it is they categorized it, and they saw some improvement by using things like bergamot, sandalwood, frankincense, lavender, all of these things. We know lavender, of course, we've seen the studies there. Some other stuff, they just did inhalation, and what they found is that in anxious patients, 65% reported feeling more relaxed, 51% felt less stressed, and they also had less nausea, which I thought was really interesting, and less sleep disturbances. So using some type of an essential oil, lavender and peppermint oils, they also used on cancer patients. There was a randomized control study where they did 120 patients over 7 days. And they measure their score with this. It's called the PSQI. It's the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Inventory score was used. And what they found is that people that were using lavender versus the group that wasn't, the lavender and peppermint, they found that, guess what? They had an improvement in sleep quality. So we know that these essential oils are really powerful, and that they work, again, on that parasympathetic nervous system, and that they're helping, put us in if you can control the nervous system, man, you can control so much. If you check out my interview with Garrett Salpeter, the founder of NewFit, we talk about nervous system and pain. I mean, it's really fascinating what can happen. And our brain also makes a lot of patterns itself. And so we get stuck in these bad neurofeedback loops. So imagine if you can get out of that, what could possibly happen? So maybe essential oils would be something for you. One of the last things I'll tell you is the effect of lavender and sleep hygiene. They did another randomized control, and they use a Fitbit, which I think is cool, because a lot of us are using this tech and you're like, yeah, show me the data. I mean, sure, people can say that they felt better after using oils and they slept better, but like, really give me the data. And what they found was that the lavender group post-intervention, along with they felt significance in waking up feeling refreshed and their quality of sleep. The lavender and the sleep hygiene. So they did a combination. They gave them some sleep hygiene techniques with lavender, and they saw obviously a huge improvement. And then if they just use lavender and not the sleep hygiene, they still saw improvements, but obviously not as good. I'm giving you all these sleep hygiene techniques right now. So imagine if you used all 5 versus just one. You just did the lavender. Of course, you're going to get, improved sleep, but maybe not to the greater degree. So do all 5 essentially is what they were saying. But yeah, they did this on college students, and they found, hey, less sleep issues, and that they were able to fall asleep better, and that their actual Fitbit scores were better. So I hope this was super helpful, guys, and that you have got something out of this. You can use some of these hacks to go into the weekend. Have an amazing weekend. I'm going to shoot over to Instagram, and if you want to follow me there, I'm going to do some Q&A and talk there. So go ahead and follow me there. Come over and hang out. I'm going to go on Instagram and go live and do the same thing. Other than that, have an amazing weekend. And man, I feel blessed to just be on and communicate and talk with you. If you have any questions, you want to learn more about me, go to joel11coaching.com. I do one-on-one health coaching with everyone there, and we're doing some amazing things in the weight loss space. So if you need to lose weight, I have an amazing 2-month or 3-month program that sees amazing results. If you need to detox, you have autoimmune issues, we can work on that as well. That's it. That's all I got, guys. I'm out. Have an amazing weekend.